Hello, my name is Jay Ockenden and I'm the translator of this book, Snow Dog Foot by Claudio Morandini, published by Peirene Press, and today for the Translators Aloud project I'm going to read a bit from my translation. I'm going to read a passage from chapter 9, which is quite far on in the book, but I checked and there are no spoilers beyond what the blurb already says. So for context, if you haven't read the book, the grumpy hermit Adelmo Farandula and a chatty dog who follows him around have been snowed in his cabin in the Alps all winter long, and this passage is from when the snow begins to thaw and they can go back outside for the first time in months. Day by day the snow beyond the window retreats, and so does the snow by the door. At last you can see the outside world, a world made of dazzling white and light blue and grey, with no other features. An incessant dripping comes from the roof, keeping them awake and unable to concentrate. Long, lamenting, drawn-out roars come from the mountains around them, and crashing noises, each one louder than the last. Finally, the day comes for the two of them to take a couple of steps outside the cabin, in the already muddy snow. With each step the man sinks in up to his thighs. The dog, lighter, walks on the hardened crust, but sometimes he treads on a more unstable patch by accident and plunges in up to his ears and thrashes around, panicking, which makes the man laugh. "Stop that," the man tells him. "Help! I'm dying!" the dog shrieks. "What do I care?" "Don't leave me! I'm dying!" In the end, the dog emerges from the abyss, spitting snow, and shakes himself before falling in again, moaning again, and laughing in spite of himself. "I'm going back inside," he says at last. But he doesn't move. The pure cold air has left them dazed. They stand there drunk on air and light, and they almost forget about food. "Is it always like this?" asks the dog. Who can remember a thing like that? I think so. It's worth it, isn't it? Adelmo Farandula means it's worth rotting away inside for an entire season. It's worth risking death from starvation just to feel this, to get drunk on whiteness and cleanliness. The dog nods, happy and confused. In their ancient wisdom, the previous inhabitants of the valley were careful to build a cabin on a strip of land where avalanches never fall. Adelmo Farandula has been able to test this over the years. The avalanches come down on either side of the cabin. They spill over and get very close, hurling heaps of earth and ice and rock almost as far as the threshold, but they don't go further than that. The old man observes the greyish, shapeless mass of snow and earth with satisfaction. There are bits of detritus sticking out from it, branches, tree trunks, poles, and enormous rocks. The dog starts sniffing around, heading towards the remains of an avalanche that came down to the right of the cabin one day last month. They both remember that day, and the terrible noise that left them breathless. They remember the shaking which almost knocked them to the ground and rattled the stone walls as though they were sheets of tin, and knocked 2 bottles off a shelf. They both remember the churning, roaring gust that passed over the roof and spared them only because the house was already protected by a thick, solid layer of old snow. "What are you sniffing for?" asks the man. "I can smell something," says the dog. "You're always smelling something." "Yes, but this is strong. See if you can smell it." "I can't smell anything." "Use your eyes, then." They approach the foot of the avalanche. Adelmo Farandula is pleased, because he's already guessed what might have caught the dog's attention. Over time, bodies of dead animals always emerge from the heaps of fallen snow. Fleeing chamois, ibexes and goats, torn to pieces by the avalanche but kept fresh by the ice. He takes advantage of nature's generosity and extracts the carcasses from the snow, piece by piece, and cooks them up because by spring the sausages have long since run out, the tinned meat is no more than a distant memory, and the legs and ribs and necks of those chamois and ibexes are well preserved. Once they've been de-haired and had the soil scrubbed off, they're good. Even the bones make good broth, which he colours with a glass of wine, if there's any wine left. "What animal is that?" he asks the dog. The dog doesn't speak. "Can't you tell what animal it is?" "That's not an animal," the dog whispers. motionless. What is this mysterious thing sticking out of the snow? Does the title of the book kind of give it away already? The answers to all of these questions and more are in Snow Dog Foot by Claudio Morandini, published by Peirene Press. And I've been Jay Ockenden for Translators Loud. Thank you for listening.